This is the Live to Inspire podcast with me, your host, Mo Yunus. Welcome to the Live to Inspire podcast with me, your host, Mo Yunus. Today I'm with such an inspiration. His name's Andy Green, 23 years old, am I right?
24 in April, so
24, yeah. Okay, so nearly 24 years old. You have cerebral palsy, don't you?
yeah.
And but apart from having cerebral palsy, you've defined the odds and have been told when you were a child you wouldn't be able to walk or talk. But now you're walking, you're talking, you're actually a public speaker, aren't you? So,
Yeah.
but before we get into any of that, I'm going to ask you a question I ask all my guests at the beginning of every podcast, and that question is: what is the biggest challenge you have in life right now?
Fantastic question. And it's actually something that surprises people. So, on top of cerebral palsy, I also have a condition called type 1 diabetes. And for those of your listeners that don't know, that's the type that's got insulin dependent. So I actually have an insulin pump that's connected to me 24/7, 365 days of the year. And for me, that at times can be fairly difficult and test my patience, if you like, because it's something that although I can give insulin and control diabetes as best they can, some days we get it wrong and get how much insulin need wrong, and stress affects it, different things affects it, and when my blood sugar levels are quite all over the place, it has an impact on my mood and my emotions, my ability to concentrate. So for me, that is probably my biggest challenge, more than anything else I've dealt with over the years.
Well, so you would you say that has more of an impact than cerebral palsy does to you?
110% without a doubt. The reason being is that cerebral palsy, I believe, has made me who I am. It's something that has defined the way that I do things and my approach to life and approach to tasks, and it's something very much tangible that I know it's there and they can deal with, whereas diabetes is something that it sits there in the background, and it causes havoc when it feels like it, and it changes who I am and how I act according to my blood sugar level. So without a doubt, if I could take one of the two away and not have any condition, not have either condition, I would any day get rid of diabetes. And in actual fact, I don't think I would get get rid of cerebral palsy if I
Yeah.
had the choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. That's amazing because when you hear about diabetes, especially myself, I didn't think it has an impact on people like that, and to say that it gives you more of an effect than cerebral palsy does that's yeah, that's unbelievable. And how do you overcome it when you're going through all these emotions, and how do you overcome that?
I think for me, it's just a case of doing what I do as best as I can do, and I'm fairly good at my controlled diabetes, so I can recognize early signs and things like that, but the insulin still takes at least an hour to take effect. So it is just about being aware of what's going on. But
Yeah.
in terms of overcoming it, I don't feel as though I do overcome it and just kind of wait through it, because
Yeah.
that's all you really can do, I guess,
Yeah.
which again is why I say that diabetes is more of a challenge than
Mhm.
cerebral palsy, because the challenges that brings I can overcome. I can find a way to do the things that I'm not meant to be able to. But
Mhm.
diabetes, I'm just like, I can give medication, but
Mhm.
that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's yeah. What you just said there, it hit my heart because it's one of the things I always say. When people ask me how I overcome my pain and my 6 hour routines in the morning, I always say, I don't ever think I do overcome it, but I just get on with it because what other choice do we have? We
Yeah,
don't. It's either that, or it's either be depressed about it and cry all day, and that'll just make things worse. So yeah, mate, that's like, yeah, 100% get you on that one. What about your strength? Because obviously you're obviously a very strong man with everything you're doing at the minute. How do you get all this strength? Where does it come from?
I think I think every credit to kind of my my parents for that, and um I always joke, and something that actually resonated me when I watched your videos of the BBC documentary is the fact that obviously the doctors told your parents that you potentially won't live
Yeah.
to a year old. And obviously, as you mentioned in the introduction, doctors told my parents that I might not be more than a cabbage, basically, and might not walk up top. Now, I always joke and say the doctors made a mistake,
Yeah.
and that mistake wasn't in their prediction, because it's a prediction, right? That they could only predict what on the information they had. The
Yeah.
mistake they made was not telling me their
Mm.
prediction.
Mm.
And this is where I kind of get this strength, as you say, from is the fact that nobody told me I wasn't able to do all these things. So when I first started to walk and first started to talk and everyone through these massive celebrations, I was like, what's going on here? Why is everyone so happy kind of thing? And then it was that moment where people said, well, you were never meant to be able to do that. That's kind of been my mentality from then on. Is that what does it matter if someone or something dictates what you should and shouldn't be able to do? And I almost see it as a challenge to do what someone tells me I'm not meant to do.
Yeah.
And that's like literally where I get my strength from it. It's not so much strength as just asking why not? Like, let's give this a go. And that's what I always try to kind of get across to people is just try it, just do it.
Yeah.
There have been so many times where I've tried something and absolutely failed at it, but then any person has those moments and you got to fail so many times before you succeed. And yeah, I just think it's that whole understanding that actually the only way to fail is to stop trying.
Yeah.
That's what I live by, and that's my kind of motto, is just get back up, keep trying.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I was saying before, that's all you can do is just keep getting back up and keep trying. And I think when you are told you can't do something in life, it does give you that motivation to kind of be like, you know what, I can do it, and I am gonna do it, I think that's how you've got your strength. But what about your parents? Because I mean, that must have been tough for them, like I know it certainly was with my story and with my parents. It was tough for them, so I can imagine it was the same for your parents as well.
Yeah, I guess as you're saying that, I'm just thinking that it's not really something that they've ever spoke about in a great deal, but what they have said to me is that obviously they worked really hard to instill the belief in me that practice makes perfect, and obviously I know what they did face a lot of backlash, if you like, when they encouraged me to do things that the medical professionals said that I
Yeah,
shouldn't be doing, and
yeah,
it was almost like I know, for example, if I wanted something and pointed at it and said, kind of made a noise, they would go, no, you can get it, try and get it. People watching would often say to them, that's cruel, why are you doing that? And I guess from from uh, un, from someone that didn't know the context in the background, trying to get a disabled toddler to go and get something probably did look a bit mean,
yeah,
but as they say, it was all part of the thing of, well, if you don't try, you're never gonna do
Yeah.
it. And what's interesting is that obviously cerebral palsy did so many variants and variations. And it is sad because there was some, I grew up with another girl that had cerebral palsy. Um, and unfortunately, her parents kind of took what the doctors said word for word, and kind of didn't push her, which, as you say, must have taken guts from my parents to
Yeah.
kind of see me struggle, but because they didn't push her, she's ended up wheelchair bound, not really able to talk that well. Um, and it's that belief as well that makes me 100% sure that practice does make perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I can only imagine what my parents must have kind of, for starters, I guess, how on earth did they make the decision to say, let's push Andrew to do his absolute best, even if it means watching him struggle and cry at times? Like, that big respect to them, because that crazy, and having a son myself now who's 21 months old, I'm not sure what decisions I would have made if I were my parents. It is hard, but yeah, every credit to them, and just thank you that they did push me, because if they hadn't, I wouldn't have been who I am today.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned then you have a son, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, does it affect your son or and your partner you're living with? You know, when you have these struggles, or are they understand, like your wife or partner, are they understanding about it all, and it's usually okay?
Yeah, I mean, my son is 21 months old, so and especially with lockdown, I don't think he knows that
Yeah.
I am different in any way into him. I am just his dad. And to a certain degree, I can keep up with them. I can do all the stuff that he wants me to do. And I mean, there's certain stuff like feeding him, and especially when he was younger, because obviously they're so delicate and dainty, it was, yeah, it didn't require as much. But then again, I found inventive ways to help out. So when he was about 4 months old, if I needed to take him into another room rather than lift him up out of his Moses basket, and just very carefully lifted the whole Moses basket and used that as a support for him. And every day I'm finding different ways to overcome sort of the challenge. One thing that quite difficult for me is the whole building of furniture and things like that, because
Yeah.
that just seems like a typical dad thing to do. Oh, dad builds my toys at Christmas, dad puts together the flat furniture, and you do give it a good go, but it takes me about 5 times longer than it should do. But that's where my partner comes in, Rebecca, because she is absolutely fantastic. Like, honestly, she did so much, and her background is a carer for, and she used to care for dementia patients. So obviously it's a different setting, but yeah, she's fantastic, and she does all this stuff that I can't. And so like the cooking, the building, and yeah, I mean, I feel for it because I really do, because there's some days that I'm just like, I wish I could cook your dinner, or wish I could help you in some way when Charlie, our son's, giving her a hard day, and it's like, I'm just sitting there because there's not much you can do.
Mm-hmm.
That's difficult, and it difficult for her too, because you can see it's frustrating, and she's not frustrated me, and know that, but the frustration there of actually I'm not able to help, and she needs the help, and I mean, I'm proposed to her, so I'm trapped her. Hopefully she said yes, so we're engaged, and we've got, she's actually 23 weeks pregnant with our daughter. So,
Oh,
so
wow.
hey,
Congratulations.
thank you. So, and that brings another challenge as well, because obviously when she was pregnant with Charlie, it was just done. So her duties as a carer, if you like,
Yeah.
were less, because I like to think I'm a bit less demanding than a 21-month old. I'm sure she would beg to differ at times. But then we've got Charlie to contend with, as well as helping me out. And yeah, she's literally a superwoman. I don't know how she does it.
Yeah, well, yeah, massive respect to her. So I mean, how did you guys meet then?
So it was actually through a dating app called Bumble. I've been kind of lonely, I guess, for a while. And it was a couple of years after I left college. Um, and it was, I was out with one of my friends, and for a laugh, she set me up on Bumble, and my profile was a review of me that my friend had written, and yeah, I think fairly quickly I'd kind of matched with Becky, but the funny thing was on Bumble, once you match, you got 24 hours for the woman to message you first, otherwise you kind of unmatch and never see each other again. And Becky was on a night shift the day she matched with me, so I think she messaged me with 1 hour to spare, so
Yeah,
lucky or what?
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, just an hour difference to not seeing her, not ever seeing her again.
Mm.
That was written in the stars for you guys, weren't it? So
Okay.
yeah, so I mean, yeah, massive. Like I said before, massive respect to her, and what not just being, you got to put you're a public speaker. You've proven the doctors wrong. You also have a business, don't you? Right? Yeah. So,
Yes,
so
yeah.
you've got so many things going on in your life, and it's it's amazing to see how you're going through, your things like cerebral palsy and diabetes, but you've still managed to do everything a normal, not a normal, I'd say everyone else would do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like with me, it's like everything I do, it's like I do things like driving, and I do things like going out with my mates on a night out, and people look at me and they're like, "You drive? What? How do you drive? You go on a night out? What? How do you go out?" And it's a bit like, I think a lot of people underestimate people like ourselves because they don't think we can do certain things. And like you said before, I think it's a brilliant feeling when you turn around and you say, "Yeah, I drive. I've been
Mm.
driving for 3 years. Yeah, I'll go out every week." And when you say these things back and see the shock on their faces, and it's a good feeling to kind of show everyone that yes, we're getting on with life, and we're not letting these things affect us. So yeah. We go back to your business. Tell us a bit about that then.
Okay, so um yeah, I again talking about challenges of people shop, that's something that comes up quite a lot, is people being shocked when they say, "Oh, I run a business," and I've actually been running the business since I left college. I started in my final year of college trading. Um, and basically, as a company, we do bespoke software development. So I've been programming probably since I was about 12 or 13. I'm fully self-taught. And yeah, I just saw kind of, when I was kind of thinking about jobs and what I could do. And I'm told that perhaps you've gone through the same thoughts. It was the fact that, right, and I can't write with the pen and paper, can't climb up stairs very well. Sometimes I struggle to talk. What employer in the right mind is going to say, "Yeah, we'll give you a job"? I mean, looking back now, potentially I was very wrong. And but having said that, I think people's perceptions have changed a lot recently. Um, but that was one of the main reasons for learning to program, other than the fact I'm really interested and passionate about it. But be starting my own business because I kind of thought, well, if there's not an opportunity out there, let's create one. And again, that's what I've lived by for a long time now, is if there isn't an opportunity, just create an opportunity. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the story behind the business. And recently, I've just kind of been focused on growing it, and it's funny because in 2016 I won a Young Entrepreneur of the Year award, which was great, but I kind of sat there and thought, I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm just doing this because it's something I've decided to do. Like, I haven't done it to be a millionaire, to make vast amounts of profits. I've done it because I just believe that was the best thing for me to do. Although recently I kind of have, maybe I've been watching too much Dragons Den, I don't know, but I have got that kind of entrepreneurial, right, what can we do now? How can we grow this and get it to a business that I can sell on or could sell on if I wanted to. So that's the goal now, is just to build it up. And I've got 3 members of staff now working with me, which is fantastic, but that in itself is a challenge. But that's a whole nother conversation. So yeah, it just fun, and I think that's what I've learned recently as well, is to keep it fun. Because last year we got really busy due to COVID, and obviously lockdown hit, and all these businesses were like, oh my God, our website isn't doing anything. We can't continue to do business. Let's bring Andy uphill work every day, all day. And the enjoyment started to go, but now I'm doing things now that's like, actually, this is my business. I am in control. I don't have to work every hour, all hours. And yeah, it's a thing right now. I'm just like, let's have as much fun, as much fun as they can do. And the thing is, I know very little about business and about life, but I think that anyone who tells you that they know a lot is lying to you, because as far as I'm concerned, we're all just making it up as we go along. So why not make it up in the best way you possibly can do?
Yeah. Yeah. Does that so? I mean, you say you do it more for fun than anything, and more just to. So is it a good thing? Like, does it get your mind off? You mentioned before when you struggle a lot with diabetes and stuff. And I mean, when these two things mix together, business and you're struggling with your diabetes, and then of course the cerebral palsy and everything else, and you've got a kid to look after. When you've got all this happening at once, yeah, how do you do it? How do you overcome all that?
I it's with the cerebral palsy, the only thing that I would say that really plays an impact on is because I'm sat at a desk all day, every day, and my muscles can tend to, by the end of the day, do whatever the hell they want.
Mm,
And walking does become a bit more difficult. Um, and and again, that's something that I've become a lot more conscious of. And even last week, I was working kind of from 7 a.m. till 11 p.m. with breaks in between, obviously. Um, but this Friday just gone, I said to Becky, my fiance, I said, right, that's it. No, the laptop isn't coming out of the office. I'm not working weekends, evening, which is, I'm sat here going in my head, like, why did you say that you got enough weight to last you till Christmas? Why? Why? But it is that thing of, right, my disability is deteriorating the more I'm pushing myself
yeah.
to the actual limit. And then comes with this, that, but I need to take action now. Um, and then I guess diabetes is also related because stress can be a factor in blood glucose levels, which again, not many people think about, but because insulin's a hormone, if you got all sorts of other hormones running about your body, it becomes really difficult to manage the effectiveness of that. And so there are times when my business doesn't help with diabetes, but also when the diabetes doesn't help my business. So if my blood sugar's high, for instance, I can be sat working, typing, like not being very productive. And just, I think it's about getting into that mentality of actually, and just need to stop when I'm not being productive. Um, and in some ways, I think modern society has glorified this thing of, oh, the more hours you work, the better you do, the better person you are. How many hours have you worked? Well, I've worked 5 hours more than you. And somehow we've got to a point where working 12 hours a day is normal. And it's not normal for anyone. And that's been a challenge is thinking to myself, well, these guys are working 12 hours a week, 12 hours a day. So if I don't work that much, how can I claim that I'm successful? When you say it like that, that's absolutely ridiculous. But it is as much as anything the challenge of not comparing yourself to other people. And that's something that I do find myself doing, because to a large degree, I forget that I've got a disability. Like, it just doesn't pass my mind. Like,
Yeah.
and then someone will say stuff and it'll be like, oh yeah, well, there is that, but that doesn't really matter. So yeah, it's the biggest challenge is definitely what everyone else faces, I guess, which is comparing yourself to others, and that's the worst thing that anyone can possibly
Anyone
do.
can do. Yeah, 100% agree with that, because I find myself doing it myself. If I'm out with my
Mm.
mates, or I find myself doing it pretty much every day, and I kind of need to learn to stop, because every time I do, the more I get depressed about life, because I look at my mates or cousins or whoever's around me, and I see they're playing football, they're getting married, or they're living pretty much the life any person would live, and there's me who, for myself, I think I'll never be able to play football, and then I'll tell myself no one's gonna ever want to marry someone like me, and then it kind of depresses me a lot. So I think the way you kind of get on with things, and yeah, and you kind of tell yourself not to compare yourself to others. It's definitely something I need to learn, because yeah, I find myself doing it a bit too much.
Would
Um,
would you say that that's your biggest challenge then, or?
definitely, yeah, because I find myself doing it like way. I think the more I'm getting older, the more I see myself doing it. It's literally every time no one knows this about me, and they'll find out whilst they're listening to this. But when I'm with mates or I'm with whoever, I look at them and I'm like, why can't I be like you? I wish I was you, or I wish I was like you. And then I kind of look to myself, and I look at what's ahead of me, and it's always, I don't know why, but I always just see negative things, like just being all alone, because not having kids, not getting married, and not doing the things that everyone else does, because I tell myself that people don't marry kids with disabilities, and stuff like that, and I think it just gets to you, gets to me a lot, sorry. And yeah, I think
It
that's 100% my biggest challenge.
it does, because honestly, I remember breaking down to my mum and dad many times, saying I'm never gonna find anyone, and it that thing of people tell you that good things come to those who wait, and you'll find the right person eventually. And I don't know about you, but I always nodded and sort of went, that's easy for you to say
Yeah.
when you're married or you've got a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. Like, it's so easy for someone to say that, which is why I'm not going to sit here
Mhm.
and as much as what you just said, really, it does upset me because I know it's not
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, maybe you'll find someone
Yeah.
eventually, because what that doesn't help you, it's you've heard it a million
Oh
times,
yeah.
I'm sure. But but what I would say is there is no reason why somebody wouldn't love you and care about you. And before Becky came along, I thought the same as you. Like, honestly, I did. And then Becky came along at the moment I least expected it. And also in the way that I could have never pictured. Like, I drove an hour to meet Becky on a route that I'd never driven before. It's a pretty off-road route, Mablethorpe, for anyone that knows Grimsby in North East Lincolnshire. We met in November on the beach in the freezing cold. Becky put her jacket on a bench because it was wet,
Mhm.
and we got caught so cold that we had to go back to the car and sit in the car park just to talk. And by the way, the car I actually drove to see it the first time was a courtesy car because someone had reversed into me the previous week. And it just stuff like that. It's like that train of events, you could never ever in a million years write that or predict that.
Mhm.
And I just think if you look at it from that perspective, yes, at the moment you can only see negative things, but that's because what's around the corner you will never ever be able to see. And I just think what you do have now and what you can do, just go for it, mate. Honestly, just have a laugh. Just don't take anything seriously because that's what it really frustrates people sometimes how little I care about things. And there have been times when people have said stuff and maybe for instance they've spoken to Becky, like they've spoken to me through Becky,
Mhm.
which is I'm sure you've had the same thing when people speak to you through like your mum or someone, and
Mhm.
it's like, hello, I am here, I
Yeah.
can comprehend
Yeah.
anything. But it's like that will happen, and I'll just be like, whatever. And Becky will be raging, and I'll be like, it doesn't matter. It's doing more important things in my life and in your life. And it's just about focusing on the important things rather than the things that are important to other people, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, yeah, yeah, that's really inspirational. I think I know for a fact what you've said today. It would definitely help me in the future going forward. I think when I'm going through them times, I will remember, everything you've just said. Then, yeah. So thanks a lot. I definitely will take that on board. But before we do wrap this up, our producer has given us 6 questions.
Okay.
Just a bit of fun. Yeah. Okay. So
Good.
the first question is a sunshine beach holiday or a crazy city break. Which one would you pick?
I would, right now, I'd probably pick a sunshine beach holiday simply because, like, there's enough hustle and bustle in my life, and it's just nice to chill out a bit. How about you? What would you pick?
Yeah, I think it's a tough one because I love being out in the city and being around people and going to parties and that whatever. But I still think I'd pick a sunshine beach holiday. Definitely. I think it's more relaxing and yeah, I think I'd definitely pick that. This one's good. The second one's quite interesting actually. It's alone on a desert island, all by yourself without anyone around you, or be on a packed subway or bus.
Well, the two
Extremely different things.
extremes. Yeah, I mean, if it was an option, I'd say somewhere in the middle, but I feel like that's cheating, so
Yeah,
I would probably say unpacked bus because I guess for me, I like talking to people,
yeah,
and the more you talk to people, the more that you find out, and the more that you grow as a person. So yeah, what about you?
I see. I absolutely hate buses. I don't know why. I just absolutely hate them. It's a tough one that is. I think, but then I would never. I hate being alone as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
I still think I'd pick the subway or bus because I think being alone is one of the worst things, especially with people like I'd speak for myself here because I'm not sure about yourself, but I find when I am alone, I find myself thinking more about life and
mm,
thinking more deep into things and it kind of it makes you more upset and you're alone thinking deep into things. I don't know about yourself, but I find that whenever I'm alone, that's what happens to me.
I know it's before I met Becky, and even to some extent before we started living together. Um, yeah, I was the same. Like I would surround myself with people. I'd be the last one at any party. I'd be that friend that extends the welcome, and you got to push out the door simply because of the reason that you said. So yeah, I 100% get that.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'd still pick the Pats or Wales. What's the one thing you'd take on a desert island? If you could take anything and you could only pick one thing, what would it be?
I honestly kind of say my family. Does that
Yeah, you can say
count?
that. Mate,
My
I
family.
knew it. I knew. I read before I read that question. I knew you'd say that because I thought to myself, that's the most obvious thing, and because the producers actually put anything in brackets here. So I definitely knew, yeah, you'd definitely take your family. Myself, I think I'd take. It's a tricky one. I'd do the same. I mean, like without my family, it's like, you know what without the support of our families, our lives wouldn't be the way they are now, and we wouldn't be as inspiring as we are today because they keep us going. And I think, my parents, my brothers, and I've got nephews as well. I think, I'd take everyone with me, and yeah, we'd all go to this island. Okay, so the next one is seafood, steak, or are you a vegetarian?
I am definitely not a vegetarian.
Same.
Sorry to any vegetarian listeners, but yeah, meat all the way. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what's your favorite dish?
Favorite dish. I would probably say on that note a mixed grill, but it's got to have black pudding on it, otherwise it's not a mixed grill.
Oh wow, black pudding on a mixed grill. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I've not seen that before. So, when you say mixed grill, what kind of foods do you have on your mixed grill? Because there's so many different ones, aren't there?
Yeah, that's true. So I'm thinking lamb, chicken, sausages, your pork, and then your steak. I mean, I'm probably naming about a
Every single
£40 mix growth, but
yeah.
nevertheless, yeah. What's your favourite dish?
Oh, I think I'd have to say, see, I love chicken. I think anything to do with chicken would do me good, like a chicken curry or you know, because I'm Asian and we eat a lot of curries. So yeah, a chicken curry is great for me. But I love my pizza as well. I love pizza, so I think I'd just take a simple. I'll probably just take a simple pizza and that's it.
Where do you sit on Nando's? Are you a fan of
Yeah.
Nando's?
Oh God. Yeah. You know what? Actually, now you've mentioned Nando's. Yeah. I think I'd take. This is the dish I'd take. This is the dish I'd have at Nando's. I'd have half a chicken. I might sound a bit greedy here, so bear with me. Half a
Go
chicken,
for it.
garlic bread, peri salted chips with some coleslaw and mash.
Yeah, solid choice. Now,
Yeah.
honestly, I, I feel like a bit of a lightweight because when I was like 14, 15, I could honestly just demolish food. And I don't know if it's my metabolism, but as I've got older, I mean, don't get me wrong, I can still put stuff away,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not in the quantities that he used to be able to. So yeah, I, I look back in kind of rose tinted glasses and I'm like kind of I wish I could eat that much.
Yeah.
And now yeah, I'm a big foodie.
So are you going hot at Nando's or are you going medium or are you going extra hot?
I I've got to say medium.
Medium.
I yeah. I mean, I don't mind spice, but I find that I just don't enjoy the food as
Mm.
much. And I
Yeah,
mean,
that's fun.
the other part as well is because I don't use a knife and fork. Um, so the spice tends to end up more on my face than actually in my mouth, and then I just get tingly lips, and that doesn't.
Mate, I know where you're coming from. I'm Asian and we don't use knife and forks, mate. So yeah, I definitely know where you're coming from there. I think it's quite sometimes when I've done Pride of Britain and I've done these posh events, and I don't really want to be on camera stuffing my face in with food in my hand. So I have to kind of act posh and get the knife and fork out and try and do something I'm not used to. And I mean, I end up dropping the food like every few seconds because I'm not used to it. But yeah, all for the camera, all for the camera. Yeah.
And tell you what technique I have in you might be able to use it. If it's like a buffet, I will wait until the end and just graze. And no one looks at you funny if you just graze when it's all the leftovers, which tend to be the best bits anyway. So I'll just, when no one's looking, I'll just grab a handful of crisps. And when everyone's eating, I'll be like, nah, not hungry.
Yeah.
But am I in the buffet?
Yeah, no, yeah, I'll use that technique. That's a good idea. I mean, yeah. Well, this is interesting as well. If you could spend one day with anyone, past or present, who would it be and why?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know it's a tough one, that isn't it?
Yeah, no, I honestly, oh wow, that is tough. There's so many people that like are amazing people that just kind of not so much overcooked, but I just go, wow, like, do you know what I mean? And you're probably one of them. So let's spend a day together
Yeah.
sometime in the future.
Oh
That's
yeah,
my
mate.
answer.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You know what? I'm saying exactly the same thing. I mean, yeah, we definitely. I think me and you, we'd be able to sit there for hours and hours. I think
Mm.
talking about and I mean, you're. I could learn so much from you. I mean, the way you look at life and the way you get on with things, and there's so much I could get into my book and start doing more often as well. I think I've always said even in my other podcast episodes that I believe in God and I believe everything happens for a reason. And I think you coming on here today could be my strength. You could have been sent to me to give me strength for the future. Do you get what I mean? I mean that's the way I look at things. And yeah, mate, yeah, definitely. I'll say the same thing. Okay, so the last question here we've got is, what do you think the meaning of life is?
Good one. And I just think it's to inspire other people to do their absolute best by sort of just everyone takes, each generation obviously takes over from the last. So I think as humans we have the responsibility to inspire people to become the best versions of themselves.
Yeah,
And yeah, that's what I try to do anyway, is be myself. And I'm not saying that I've got all the answers, because I definitely haven't, but it's about saying to people what you can do your best, proving to people they can do the best, and just giving life all that you got. That's the role.
Yeah, you know what, I think we've got so much in common actually, because all the questions that we've been asked, I've pretty much had the same answers for everyone. As you can probably tell, I've got this podcast show now, which is called Live to Inspire. So yeah, I'm that's exactly what I think. And I even spoke to the producer before actually we started this podcast, and I said my aim out there and my aim in life is to inspire people, and if you can help me do that, you know it would mean so much to me, because I'm trying my best now to do it. I won the Pride of Britain award, as you probably already know, and I gained so much followers, and like I said before, everything happens for a reason, and I believe gaining all them followers gives me a massive chance to inspire so many people out there. Because okay, I'm not gonna say everyone's very strong and everyone can get through things, because I don't know what they're going through, but as the only thing we can do is tell our stories and tell everyone how we get on with life, and I think that's enough, because what we go through on a daily basis, I mean, and someone could look at this and think, you know what, actually my life isn't as bad. I can do this, I can do that, you know what I mean? So I think, like with the other questions, this exact same answer that you've just given is exactly what I would have said. Just here to inspire people and get on with it. That's it. So thanks very much, Andy, for coming on today, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. You've been, that, what a guest to have on the show. This show is called Live to Inspire, and to have an inspiration like you on this show, it's unbelievable for me, because I just can't believe that I'm able to speak to people like you and get the story of yourself out there, and it will help so many people. I really believe it will. I really believe it will. So thank you very much. But before we do leave, I've got to ask my closing question now.
Okay.
So the closing question is, what would your message of inspiration be to anyone that's feeling down at the minute and needs that motivation?
Okay. I'm gonna be cheeky and do two. Okay. So the first one is it's actually a song lyric from a Megan Trainor song, Don't Judge. And it says, everybody is different. That's the one thing that makes us the same. And when you think about that, that is really thought-provoking. The other thing I want to end on is, it isn't about how many hurdles you jump. It's about how many times you get back up and try again.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. That's the perfect message of inspiration. I mean, like I said before, you can't, when you are going through something, you can either sit there and cry all day about it and feel low, or you can either get up and do something about it. And I mean, the best thing in my eyes is to just try your best, even though you probably think at the time you can't, to just get up and try your best to just get on with things and get your mind off the situation you're in. So yeah, I 100% agree with that. Andy, where can the followers, the listeners, and the people watching, where can they find you on social media?
Okay, yeah. So I'm on Twitter. admittedly not very active, but
Same.
my handle is Andy G. Also there's my company website, which is like.co.uk, and that's lyke.co.uk. People can contact me through there. I do have a personal kind of blog in the making. I have said that for quite a few years, so it might never happen. But yeah, definitely Twitter, and search me on LinkedIn as well. It just Andy Green. You'll see a nice picture of me.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I definitely think the listeners and the people watching will wanna know more about you and you know follow your story through social media. So it's best to get that out there. But yeah, like I said before, mate, thank you so much for coming on today, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
My honour, thank you. Thanks.
No, yeah. Yep. So this has been the Live to Inspire podcast with me, your host Mo Eunice. I hope everyone has a great day. Take care and goodbye. Thanks for joining us on the Live to Inspire podcast with me, your host Mo Eunice. Please comment, like, and share to help build our global community.